青や強がって飛び乗って風に流って青空昨日を越えろ
Hey everybody, welcome back to Talking MONS, our Digimon Adventure 2020 recap podcast. My name is JD, and joining me as usual is Jeanette and Gary.
Hello.
Hi.
And we were off last week, had a bunch of scheduling issues between the three of us, so you're going to be getting a double dose of Digimon this week. We're going to be talking about episodes 8 and 9. We'll start with episode 8, the children's attack on the fortress, and then we'll get into episode 9, which is titled The Ultimate Digimon Attacks, which is kind of a misnomer title, but also accurate, but we'll get to it when we get there. So let's go. We're going to start off with episode 8 here. This episode pretty much involves the main gang riding on a Kakumon, getting to the new continent. And oh hey, by the way, Matt's here. Don't know how he got here, but he's here. And they're raiding a fortress on the beach, and that's the gist of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt learns about friendship, I guess.
Yep.
What did you guys think of this episode?
Well, I just love how they just went in on the attack. Like, they could be a good fortress protecting themselves from the evil Digimon. They didn't even see anybody. They know that they're being attacked, but they don't know who are attacking them.
I mean, Tankdramon looks pretty evil. I think they're just kind of going on a blanket, a blanket kind of assumption that everyone that isn't their partner is evil. Because obviously that's kind of been true up until this point.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
It was kind of nice to, get most of the gang together. Izzy's still missing in action at the moment.
No
But not for long. Yeah, TK and Kari still aren't in here. They're still all back on Earth doing God knows what.
Buying groceries with their families.
Yeah.
Hoarding.
Not
hoarding
being
the
in a
groceries.
monstrous hellscape, but mostly. Yeah. I mean, I guess my main takeaway from this episode is just, the Matt's finally joining back up with them. Again, like, I need to know how these other kids are getting to the digital world, because they're not, they never explained how Matt got there. Mimi and Joe, we have no idea.
I could care less.
Yeah, I mean, they're just there. I would like to know more of what Matt's been up to since he left in episode 2. He's been gone for 10 episodes.
He's been brooding.
I feel like we're gonna get a flashback episode
Probably.
of him.
Yeah. I mean, I care from a narrative perspective, not so much of I care what Matt's been doing. Just I need some plot hole filled, but it's a Matt plot hole, and I've already expressed my dislike of Matt many times on this show.
I think for me, plot holes kind of come with the territory in anime. And when it comes to plot holes, these are really so tiny in comparison to what usually happens. I can roll with it. Is what it is.
Well, I don't consider these as plot holes, just missing information. Plot hole is basically conflicting information. These are just missing in general.
Yeah, it's stuff that could be addressed in the future, but I guess we just kind of have to wait and see on that. Yeah, go ahead.
I just kind of assume that the same thing that happened to Tai, what's her name? Sora came with them, but I guess kind of they just got sucked up into the digital world. That's just kind of how it does. Tai and Sora were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I will say, and I mean, I've really liked how the series is emulating the style from the 90s show almost perfectly. But I don't know exactly why, but that really sunk in for me in this and the next episode, just because of like I think like a lot of the expressions that they use. It's just like I feel like anime nowadays, and I probably said this on multiple episodes of this podcast and our main show, that I feel like a lot of anime styles nowadays are starting to get a bit homogenized. Like my wife watches way more anime than I do. But like every time I walk in and her watching something and like it could be any number of things, I'm like I couldn't tell them apart to save my life. So I'm really glad that they decide. I mean, Try kind of had the same problem. That they were kind of modernizing the art style a little bit, but I'm glad that they harkened back to the 90s designs for this, but updating like the designs a little bit to kind of fit like a newer generation. But I like that they're doing the 90s design because it really helps it stand apart from other modern shows. I when they're all being attacked on the beach and like how Joe and Mimi are just freaking out and like the facial expression that they do, and it's like it's so spot on.
Yes.
With how the old show really exaggerated all the expressions of the characters, and I'm like really happy with the I mean, say what you will about how the plot's been going so far. I think the art direction is like extremely on point with this show, and I love it. I love what they're doing with it.
And speaking of art direction, the new evolution sequence.
Yeah, you see Gabumon. He gets a big sexy evolution sequence this episode.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Gabumon gets one. I knew Agumon was going to be the only one, but look, I get that they make up Omnimon, and Omnimon's like the big hero Digimon, but it still bums me out that they're the only two that get something that involved, and everyone else kind of gets a. I mean, I like it, but it's not as flashy as Agumon and Gabumon's evolution sequences. So I wish everybody got that.
Me too.
So it's very obvious who the main character is. Because I mean, back in the day, everyone was pretty equal in terms of, you know, their at least their base evolution. I know when they went to their ultimate stage, you know how Agumon and Gabumon, they got like 3D, really bad late 90s CG 3D evolution sequence. Everyone else got a 2D one, but it seemed a little more, you know, equal. But this time it's very clear, like, no, we're gonna put all our money into Agumon and Gabumon's sequences. Everyone else is gonna be just get a, you know, to get the point across. And that's to say that we still have not seen Bergermon's evolution sequence, and I'm starting to think we won't.
I don't think we will either.
We'll never see it. It'll be a long-standing secret that you'll never see Bergermon's 2020 evolution sequence. We'll see Bergermon go into Garudamon before we see that happen.
Well, given the way the series is going, I would not be surprised if that's the case.
But yeah, I mean, this episode is basically just like a big battle, and the kids like trying to figure out like how to get into this fortress.
I do like that Joe tries to grab the white towel and surrender because he thinks that's the grand answer.
Well, I love the exchange. How Joe takes the towel and does it, and then Mimi freaks out. She's like, "My towel," and then Palamon's like, "That's Sora's towel." Just like that entire exchange.
Yeah, I really like the humor of the series.
Yeah,
it's got very much the humor of the old series, and I love it.
Yeah, I love the weird humor that they're peppering in here. And I think it's the writing, and I think just the writing and the plot is really gotten better now that they have more characters interacting with each other. Because it was just, I think part of my problem with like the staleness and like the plot progression of those first couple of episodes. It's just because it was mostly just Ty and Izzy. And that they were the only two characters. But now that we've got the entire gang together, everyone could play off of each other and kind of get back to that group dynamic that the original series had. And I think that I don't want them to, like, you know, just completely rely on that first series, like, to bank on nostalgia or anything. I still want them to do something new with this, and for the most part they are. We'll get into a little bit more when we get to the next episode about how they're skewing to parts of the old show. But I'm glad they're at least keeping the spirit of the characters, but still giving them new. Their dynamic is, you know, changing a little bit in this new version, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
I actually think they've got like the right mix between new stuff and old stuff, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to try new things. So
yeah, exactly. And I think they're just getting better with every episode and really getting into their groove of things, which I appreciate. And it was really interesting watching the kids, like, they try to do their first attack on the fortress. It fails miserably. Then they have to regroup in that cave. And then they kind of have to, like, come up with a plan and, like, okay, we have to, like, okay, Joe and Mimi are gonna run distraction out here. Matt, you go up the center. Ty and Sawyer are gonna flank from on the sides, and we're gonna, like, try to, you know, come at them from all sides. And it was kind of interesting watching them just, you know, all these little 10-year-olds try to piece together a battle plan.
Yeah.
Well, Matt was just being stupid at first on just going in at it alone.
Because
it just happened that Joe tried his little surrender stick.
Yeah.
Everybody else the idea.
But then Matt looks back on everybody and they're trying their hardest, and that's when he learns the power of friendship. And it's beautiful, and I'm being facetious. I don't know. It was fine. He just looks back and has these flashes of everybody fighting and stuff, and he's like, "This is what true friendship means, and this is what's gonna win the day." And I'm like, "Cool, all right, cool."
Well, I love how you describe it, but he still begrudgingly not admit it.
No, I mean, he's still an ass. Don't get me wrong, Matt is still an asshole. But, you know, maybe he'll be less of an asshole in the future.
I feel like he's more tolerable in the series.
I think he's more tolerable because we haven't spent so much time with him.
We'll see.
He's just kind of been dismissive so far. He's not like, he hasn't been around Ty enough to get combative with him like he was in the old show. But give it some time, it might. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up for this episode before we get into the next one?
Not really, no. Well, there's the whole stuff about the Holy Digimon and such.
Oh, right, yeah. On the very last piece of the episode, they actually get inside the fortress and they find another one of those, like, rune block things with the digi-writing on it, and, you know, Ty, through the power of plot convenience, can read it. It's actually the power of its Digivice thing giving him the knowledge, but yeah, and that's kind of where the episode leaves it, is like Ty's like, "Oh, this is about the Holy Digimon," and kind of cuts there until the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the episode after that, the Ultimate Digimon Attacks, again, we'll get into why that's a kind of a misnomer title.
It is such a good, like,
it's a good title, but, like, from the outside, it's kind of misleading.
well, it just, we'll get into it, but I think for what they were going for, it just made it perfect.
Right. So this episode has them, you know, they've claimed the fortress, and they're trying to figure out this whole block thing. But, you know, Ogremon, who still has a grudge, against these kids, you know, comes for them, but it's not before, oh, hey, Devimon's here, kind of. I guess he's the bad guy of this first arc again. Not that I was expecting anything different. But yeah, you see a shadow of Devimon kind of berating Ogremon for failing to kill the kids so far. So that was kind of cool to see him, I guess. I have a problem with him here in a little bit, but I'll get to that when we get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel bad for Ogremon.
I kind of do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Okay, I just have to say, I didn't make the connection before, but Ogremon totally reminds me of ogres from Warhammer, and I just totally get that vibe.
I was just bad, and when Melanie and I were watching this, I just referred to him as Shrek's punk rock brother. I was just like, I feel like it's the easy joke to make. I'm sorry, everybody. But yeah, I kind of like Ogremon in this episode because like he's got a bone to pick with Greymon, and he like calls him out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want any of you other guys involved. This is between me and him. He broke my horn, and we're gonna fight this out like men. And yeah, they do. Like Greymon, or Agumon evolves, and the most of the episode is just Ogremon and Greymon having a one-on-one fight while everyone just stands around and watches it.
And it was an awesome fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight, and I really liked how I think it's Izzy who's the one who comments on it. He's like saying like it's not like he's like doing this for revenge. It almost looks like they're having fun doing this now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Izzy came.
Yeah, so it's like it's actually and he's right because it's kind of fun to watch. You know, Greymon and Ogremon are really getting into it and like throwing each other and really doing these kind of flipping moves and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see how they're really getting into it, and it's not so much of like, oh, I'm an evil henchman and like I want to kill you. It's just like Ogremon is just like a prideful battle guy, and that's who he is. So it's not like so much that he's like, you know, inherently evil. It's just like, you know, he broke his horn and he's got like that warrior's code and like he demands retribution.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like Ogremon in this one. I think they give him a little more nuance than they did originally in the old show, because the old show he was just Devimon's minion, and he like, you know, they become friends somewhere towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that he has a little more more agency early on, so I think that's kind of a cool direction to go for him.
But then the other minions attacked.
Yeah, these generic ass looking dragons. And I just love how he basically tells them to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
I also love how that they attack so quickly and so much but none of the kids like had a scratch on them.
Yeah,
literally exploded right in their face.
Like, dude, they firebomb that fortress, and it's like, yeah, everyone's fine. They survived it. Everyone's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all still standing as well. It's not like they were hiding behind the rubble, like after the dust clears.
It's like,
they're just
Gary, it's like Power Rangers. Explosions don't actually do anything. They're just there to be flashy.
Yeah, but there's no like backflip.
That's true. No one did a backflip. Ogremon did a backflip, I think, but he doesn't count in this context. So I kind of want to talk about why this episode's called what it is and my problem with it.
And the bait and switch.
Yes. So it's called the Ultimate Digimon, and it makes it, to me, that almost said like, oh, Devimon's gonna show up because he's the ultimate bad guy at the moment. No, it's Metal Tyrannomon.
Well, I think kind of what they were going for is they kind of wanted the viewer to go in and think, oh, some Agumon's going to evolve to Ultimate in this episode.
Yeah, that was the other thing I thought. It's like, oh, okay. I thought like maybe we're going to see Metal Greymon, which I think is a little early for that, but you know, whatever.
I think we're actually
what's pace to this show
like coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to actually see him sooner than later, though.
I think he's going to show up the next episode.
Me too.
Yeah, because I think the other one's called the Super Evolution of Steel next week, so I can only imagine that means we're going to get Metal Greymon, but we'll see.
Well, I did remember that like a second in the preview clip of his like missile.
Well, see, that's what threw me off. Is I know Metal Tyrannomon is a Digimon, and I know that much. So when he showed up, I'm like, oh yeah, it's that guy. But he fired the little missile with a mouth thing at the kids towards the end of this episode. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Metal Greymon's missile. Agumon hasn't evolved yet. Where's that coming from? And it's like, oh no, it's Metal Tyrannomon shooting that off. I'm like, oh, all right. My main problem with this is that Devimon is a champion level. Technically, Metal Tyrannomon should be stronger than him.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing too, but
it's like you have a Digimon who's a level higher than you under your command. So I'm like, damn.
Well, from the title and like halfway through the episode, I thought it's Ogremon that's gonna evolve.
Yeah.
That's like their like the battle, and they're like right in like moment of it, and he's like getting right into his like groove, and then he evolved trying to beat Greymon.
But honestly, I'm glad that's not the direction they went in. Because I think for Ogremon's story so far, I think the direction they went into makes a lot of sense. Because how he like told all the other minions to like go away, I got this. And then to just have this giant fuck off monster come in to basically do his job for him.
It literally stepped on him.
Yeah. And he basically tells the kids like, just go, I'll take care of this guy. And he has like tries to have a fist fight with Metal Tyrannomon, even though it's gonna be a losing fight. He's so prideful that he's like, no, I'm not gonna let this guy come in and do my job for me.
I think I'm more invested in Ogremon as a character than any of the main cast.
Honestly, I might be too.
Right after this episode, yeah.
I'm kind of down with the direction they're going with him.
Yeah.
I like this prideful warrior Ogremon. He's cool.
Like, I'm concerned if he survives or not, because we know that everybody else is gonna survive, but will he survive?
That's true, because they kind of leave it ambiguous about what's going to happen to him. So I'm wondering what's going to go on with him.
Bless you.
Sorry. Yeah, I hope this isn't the last we see of Ogremon.
Yeah. I imagine it won't be. But yeah, it's kind of up in the air right now, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I like that we got like a little inkling of Devimon. Obviously, that's going to come into play probably in the next couple of episodes. But I feel like if you're really going to take on Devimon, TK has to get in.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't have Patamon without.
You got to have Angemon and Devimon fight.
Yeah, no, it's unless they're going to completely do something completely different, then
yeah.
And it's going to be like a Deus Ex Machina.
See,
like literally an angel is gonna like poof in.
Okay, so here's where 90s kid JD starts to have issues with if this is how it goes, is that so much of the reason why Angemon showed up was so great in the old show is because Patamon spent like 10 episodes watching everyone else evolve, and he just like can't do it yet, and he's getting so frustrated with it. And it's like, and to see that like this unassuming little winged hamster thing turns into the strongest one of all of them right when they need him to, and I'm like, they had a lot of build up, and like that when he evolves into Angemon, it feels so earned and it feels so good to see that happen finally. I just don't want them to have TK and Angemon come in, like Gary says, like a Deus Ex Machina kind of savior at the last moment. Like, I still want that kind of build up or something similar because it just like works so well for their character. Basically what I'm saying is I don't want TK and Kari to kind of get short-shrifted in their development.
Yeah,
in order to make
I may be a little optimistic, but I don't think they are because they've been dropping a lot of hints toward them. I think they're just doing something different because they don't want to, because everyone who's watching this pretty much knows how the original went. So they're going to twist it up or mix it up a little bit.
Well, I mean, we've seen Kari once or twice. I don't know the last time we've seen TK. He's been pretty absent outside of the, his shot in the theme song.
Yeah, we actually haven't seen TK in anything but a flashback.
Right. So I'm just real curious what they're going to do with those two, because obviously they got to come in at some point.
I mean, they're in the OP.
They're in the opening and all the material, all the marketing material. So it's like, when are they going to show up? But again, it's just like we have to wait and see what's going to happen next. I mean, I feel like the pacing's gotten a lot better with these newer episodes.
I just love the bait and switch where you were sure that Greymon was going to turn into like Metal Greymon and take on him, and he just completely chokes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much. That was interesting to kind of see him be put in his place, but
like his eyes are glowing. We
thought we were gonna get it in this episode. He starts to, but no, he gets shut down.
Yeah.
So I thought that was actually kind of a cool little bit there. Yeah, you see him like, oh, is he gonna do it? And I'm like, oh, nope, okay. We're gonna have to wait another episode or two before that happens. So, and that's the kind of sprinkling of like foreshadowing that I like. I like that they like showed a little glimpse. I'm like, oh, he might be evolving, and like, nope, not yet. We'll get to it, not yet.
But the preview clips and the episode title just kind of spoil it.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's just kind of that's kind of how anime works. Is the episode titles are sometimes too literal, and you're always going to get a preview of the next episode at the end of the previous episode. So I'm glad that in the preview they didn't actually show Metal Greymon. They gave you kind of a hint and like all but confirmed it. I didn't see him. Maybe they did. I didn't see him.
Like I swear, like there was a zoom in shot of his chest missile, like opening up.
Was there? I mean, I watched this like 2 days ago. I didn't remember, but you may be right. I don't know.
Unless it's that Metal Tyrannus.
Yeah, because Metal Tyrannus can shoot the mouth missiles too. I don't know.
We're just gonna have to see next episode. Dun dun
yeah.
dun.
Dun dun dun. But yeah,
versus another Metal Dinosaur.
Okay, so honestly, and this is kind of where I thought like where it said the ultimate Digimon, when I saw the metal foot come down, like the cyborg foot come down right before Metal Tyrannomon shows up, I'm like, shit, are they pulling Machinedramon in this early? Are they gonna have a mega level just show up and wreck shit?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I was close, but I was like, damn, if Machinedramon just shows up and just starts like laying waste to everything, I'm like, damn, stakes just got real.
I wonder if they're just gonna like do just 26 episodes though, and that could be like why they're putting ultimates in already. Like,
yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be like a 26. I seriously doubt there's gonna be a 50 episode season.
Yeah, I'm doubting it. Yeah, I'm doubting it too with the current pacing.
Yeah.
But then we can watch.
Also, they might have to kind of force themselves into it because the story arc might end at 26 episodes, whether or not there's 50 some episode or not. But they might just split it into 2 separate seasons.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Just like dealing with the current uncertainty in our real world.
Yeah, because I don't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure in the old show, when you got up to about episode 26, I think that was like pretty heavy into the Myotismon arc. I think Myotismon runs somewhere into the early 30s. I think. Don't quote me on this. It's been a while. So I think with 26 you could probably get if they're kind of like keeping the skeleton of the original story in this, then you can probably get most of the Devimon and the Myotismon arc. If that is in fact where they're going, I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, just gotta wait. I don't like waiting. I need the Netflix model where they just give me an entire season of things.
I like having a week by week model.
I think going by the antagonist arc might not be what they're going for. They might be going for the crisis arc.
What's the crisis arc?
As in, they instead of focusing on the antagonist as the story arc, they separate into the stuff that's happening in the real world as its own arc. So you have the train crisis, which is like 1 or 2 episode mini arc, so like a prologue, and then now it's the Tokyo Power Crisis arc, and then they probably gonna have another bigger scale, maybe affect the entire country as the next arc.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of like each little arc has been like a crisis in the real world that they have to go to the digital world to figure out. That's an interesting theory. I hadn't thought about that. Huh. Interesting.
Whatever it is, I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, for sure. Was there anything else you guys want to mention before we start wrapping up here?
Joe is the leader.
He sure likes to think so.
He believes he is.
I love Joe.
I feel like they've made him into such, like, he's obviously the comic relief, but they've made him into such more interesting character in the series, and I love what they're doing with him.
I just like that he he's not like, I feel like in the old show he was kind of like a little snivelly, like,
stick in the mud.
Yeah, he was a stick in the mud, but like I like that he's actually taking responsibility, even though that's his crest thing. But I like that, like, he's never been like freaking out afraid like he was in the original show. In this one, he was like, very like, I'm in this monster world, but I'm still dedicated to studying. But now he's like, well, I'm the oldest, so I should probably be the one in charge of everything. So he keeps just declaring himself the leader, even like no one believes him.
Yeah.
He has the guts to run out into like a shooting range, basically.
Oh yeah, no,
try to wave the flag.
Yeah,
I can be sure surrendering is a cowardly move, but that like action of running out there,
he's doing it to protect the others.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, full props to Joe for running out into an active shooting range to wave a flag.
So the conclusion is Joe and Ogremon are the heroes of the new Digimon show.
So far, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
They're definitely the most interesting characters so far. All right. Well, there you go, guys. There's your double helping of Digimon for this week. We'll go back to one episode next week. We're going to talk about episode 10. Maybe we'll see Metal Greymon. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
Maybe Ogremon will be the one to evolve.
I don't know what Ogremon's evolution line is. Who knows? Maybe. But yeah, so thank you everybody for listening. I just want to remind everybody to go to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Discord, if you would like to connect with us, the links of which are in the description of every episode. And if you're not already, you can find this show on most major streaming platforms, so you can listen to us on the go. But thank you guys for being here and recording the show with me every week. It is always a pleasure to talk to you both. And again, everyone out there, thank you for listening, and make sure you tune in next week where we talk about more Digimon.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.